let's see. So we're in the meeting, we're discussing, we want to get proper SMAU numbers because we don't have them. And we need it for product, we need it for our investors, we need to know it, we need to have it to spend our money properly. We've been trying for a year to get SMAU numbers. We have a lot of misunderstanding what SMAU is. But we have a thing that we now coined the term AMAU for, Action Monthly Active Users. Basically, for any action like merge requests, look at who made them and do a unique user count, which is super reliable. Which is a great way to do it, a simple way to do it, and which already part of the usage ping. Now, the problem is these AMAU queries are timing out on big instances. So that's the problem we're going to solve. That's what we should focus on as a team. Make sure the AMAU numbers get reported for all the instances that send the usage ping, including GitLab.com. And then to simplify things technically, we're not going to look at, like, suppose there's 3 actions in a stage. We're not going to look at those 3 actions together and then deduplicate, like you kind of add them and then deduplicate them for the people that were in all 3. That's super complex. We're just going to say, what's the most common action in this stage? What's the highest AMAU number? And apparently we're going to take that as the SMAU number.
And should we start with the activity that we believe to be the highest count based on what we've observed so far? And maybe do the activity that we think is the highest count in each stage.
Yeah, and we can check, and we can look at multiple activities and see which is highest. But it's probably like for plan, it's probably like who created an issue, or who logged a comment on an issue is probably an even better one. And then for merge requests, is who opened or left a comment on a merge request. And then for monitoring, I don't know, who looked at a graph? I'm not sure we're tracking that. If we're not tracking that, like who made a new dashboard or made a modification to it?
Sid Reddy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, can we look at what we get back currently from smaller instances to see what their biggest action is, and then base it off of that?
Yeah,
for sure.
We have 2 months of data in the warehouse already ready to go. So that part's trivial for us.
Can someone screen share the data we already have?
Yeah, I guess I can.
Any ideas how to solve the technical problem to like prevent those unique users for this table timing out?
There's been some discussion about that in issue 39 in telemetry a couple months back. But I can't comment on that. But this is what the data looks like. You can see my screen Snowflake, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is the usage ping data. It's sending a column of JSON calling usage activity by stage. And it sends back this JSON packet organized by stage, and then per stage, it has another nested JSON with a count per action. So this would be our AMAU organized into stages. I guess this one's all at 0, so it's a bad example.
Cool. Yeah, basically this like distinct true query, that's the thing we gotta think about how we're gonna fix that. Either run it in the background or we need to.
Yeah, I'm helping telemetry team as an engineer, and I'm also a database reviewer. So I will check it if you assign me. I mean, I personally believe there should be a way to overcome the timeout issue for distinct count. I will take over the issue if Sid Perry you create.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a database reviewer and I have cheap opinions, but I presume if there's an index on it, we can do the query. But don't listen to me, listen to Alpha.
No, in the meantime, I just made a distinct count of the example here on production replica, and it worked fine. It was like 10 seconds for the some sophisticated query.
Great.
Awesome.
And Alpha, do you have any ideas? Suppose we solve this as quickly as it now looks. Do you have an idea on how to do a kind of a SMAU that's an aggregate of a couple of things? I think that's technically super complex. Like, say, either someone created a merge request, or they commented on a merge request, or they, I don't know, added a label somewhere. In all those cases, and we should take the aggregate of that and then duplicate it, but the data is in different tables. I assume that's technically super difficult and we shouldn't do it, but I want your opinion.
Can you repeat the question again? Exactly like, I mean, the problem, I didn't get the problem.
The problem is we want a unique user count over multiple tables.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. A computer science question.
So
I will check. Yeah, Amy.
I do have a thought there. That's one of the problems with, and there are issues where we've discussed this previously, where if you open up SMAU to be defined in that way that we've traditionally talked about it being defined, is that different instances will be calculating SMAU differently. I like this SMAU being the highest AMAU metric, because you help solve for that problem, which is where different instances have kind of different things they are or aren't tracking.
Why are different instances tracking different things?
Yeah, because if you think about different versions, so let's say version A has one definition of SMAU for create, but this other instance is already on version A.2, and so they have a different definition of SMAU for create.
That's a good additional reason to keep SMAU as simple as possible. Thanks for that, Emily.
I will check the query problem. Basically, unioning the tables and counting is the boring but most probably not working solution. There might be other tricks to For now,
for the purposes of giving clear directions, we're going to assume that calculating like SMAU over multiple tables or multiple events is too hard. We're not going to do it. It also is the problem that Emily articulated, that you get into definition questions. The goal is to get AMAU from every instance that has usage tracking on, fix the timeout problem, make sure there's, I don't know how, maybe improve the query, maybe make sure it's run in a background task, maybe make sure that the usage ping is still sent out, even if some of the data is missing, although we might have already fixed that. But get that fixed and get us to reliable AMAUs.
Yeah, the thing with the timeout for me now, from 3 months experience, seems that we are using something called PG bouncer in the between the database and the backend, and we have 15 seconds of timeout for everyone. We had in a large client a project import problem, and we solved it by moving the import from the PG bouncer and 15 seconds timeout. So what I'm saying is, I think it should be possible in a background migration to do it, like to get any number, count you want. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, a background job you maybe mean instead of a background migration?
Sorry, a background job. In a background job, it should be, in GitLab.com, we have a different architecture. So that's why that might be misleading us, because of like a PG bouncer and 15 seconds timeout for,
Yeah, so what do we use as a timeout for GitLab.com?
I think for queries, it's for the background jobs, it should be 15 seconds. And for online, it should be even less, like a few seconds. Okay. But I will check it as part of this issue.
I'm not going to solve that here, but I think what we should for sure try is like running the queries in background jobs and making sure that they write to some other usage ping data table or something, and the usage ping, sending the usage ping data thing should be like a tenth of a second. There shouldn't be any new big queries involved in that. It should just be sending stuff out, it aggregated over the background over time.
Okay, in one way or other, I think I can tackle this question. I mean, if you assign me this.
Yeah, don't design it as I say, just make sure that it works.
No, it's just...
Hey, Alper, do you feel like you could, like Alper's day job is a conversion engineer. Happy to assign this to you and work with Sam on that. Do you think you could run with this by yourself, or do you need more help?
No, actually, I'm in the database team also, a maintainer trainee. So anyway, it would come to me maybe indirectly or directly.
Yeah, I think.
And by chance, I'm yeah. So.
Scott, we should have an engineer, and then Alper can help with the database part of it. But there should be a PM. I assume that's Sid and an engineer.
Yeah, we were going to need to borrow somebody because we don't have telemetry engineers yet. That's the question.
Oh, but Alper is growth. Oh, Alper, your day job is growth engineer. Okay,
right.
Growth, but I'm also doing the telemetry now with Sid. So database and telemetry. By chance, I'm the intersectional.
So Sid and Alper are going to work on this, I assume, then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
and we'll let me know if you need more help, and I can work with Bartek to see if what our options are.
Oh, it's a small issue out of a lot of others, it's like.
Okay, cool.
Sid, can you give me a weekly update on Monday, as long as it's not a holiday or something else?
Yeah, sure, we'll do.
Cool. Looking forward to our SMAU dashboards and our real SMAU new definition things. The definitions, Sid, are you gonna change those in the handbook? Add SMAU, change the definition of SMAU, things like that?
Yes, I will do that.
Awesome.
All right.
Hey, sorry, one thing I just want to clarify here, because it didn't come up, but it's in the doc. There's a lot of conversation around snowplow and other tracking. Those are great conversations, but they're all a distraction to this SMAU conversation. Are we in agreement?
Yeah, no snowplow, no nothing else. That's all unrelated to this.
Okay.
And then at some point, we're going to figure out what percentage of our self-installed things are not sending back a usage ping, and we're going to compensate for that and get an even more accurate number. But that is in the future. Let's get this done first.
No, so we figured that out recently for our paid instances. It's like 35%. We have a dashboard.
So 35% doesn't have the usage ping on, or 35% does have it on?
35% of paid instances with a license send us usage ping every month.
Great. So usage ping is on in 1/3. So after we got the things, we can put gitlab.com to the side and multiply that rest of it by 3.
Yeah.
For paid users.
Yeah, and for context, at the moment, there's a problem with the version app that doesn't send data to our data warehouse. So we don't have data for the last 1.5 months.
Seems that seems an obvious other thing to fix in order to get this done.
Yeah, I'll prioritize that one too.
Thanks.
Thanks, y'all, for
Cool.
thinking creatively about this. Sid, are you good?
Yep.
Okay.
Sid, are you good?
Yes, thank you, Sid.
Thanks, Sid.
All right. Have a good day.
Have a good
Bye.
day, everyone.
Thanks.